Good morning, students. I'm Vikram Singh Rathod, Assistant Professor at Center for E-Governance. Today I am represent the classes and encapsulation in Python. Basically, a class is a group of objects. In our previous lecture, I am describing the objects in the Python, and in today our lecture, I am also recall objects in this lecture. The definition of a class is a group of objects with same attributes and common behaviors. It is basically a blueprint to create objects. An object is a basic key concept of the object-oriented programming, but classes provide an ability to generalize similar types of objects. Both data and function operating on the data are bundled as a unit in a class for the same category of the objects. I am defining also an example in our next slides. Here to explain the term the same category of the objects, let us take the example of mobile phone. A mobile phone can a window phone, an Android phone, an iPhone all fall into the categories of mobile phone. Also, these are instances of a class, say mobile phone, and are called objects. Similarly, can have another example where student name Rani and Ravis are objects. They have properties like name, date of birth, father's name, address, class, marks, etc. And the behavior can be giving examination. Anybody pursuing any course giving any type of examination will come into the category of student. So a student is said to be a class as they share common properties and behavior. Although a student can be a school student, college student, or a university student, or an student pursuing a music course, and so on, many kind of courses of students, and all of these have some properties and behavior in common which will from a class. An analogy is that you can have variables of types integer which translate to saying that variable that is store integers are variables which are instance objects of the int class. A real instance of a class is called an object, and creating the new object is called initialization. Objects can have also functionality by using functions that belongs to a class. Such functions are also called method of the class. I am describing also example in my next slide. This terminology is important because it helps us to differentiate between function and variables which are independent and those which belongs to a class or object. Collectively, the field and method can be referred to as an attribute of the class. Let us make the example of the class. So I am defining here a class mobile phone which is represented in our block diagram in next slide. Here the class name is a mobile phone and the objects of the class is data, model, color, price, and the functions or methods of this class belongs to such as store numbers, missed call details are the method or functions of the mobile phone class. A class is defined before the creation of objects its type. The objects are then created as instance of this class as shown in this figure. For example, I am defining a class as a mobile phone and then defining a data, model, color or price are the objects of the class, and then I am also describe the class The objects those are created in a class is also defined as a instance, such as the types of mobiles, Nokia Lumia, Asha i4, etc. And then after its objects, data types, its objects, data, model, color, price, and functions. These are also as defining here class and objects relationship. In the above example, Nokia Lumia, Asa and i4 are all instances of the class mobile phone. All these instances are similar in the sense that all have basic features that a mobile phone should have. So all of these are objects of the class mobile phone. And then after I am describing the encapsulation, it is a basic concept of the object oriented programming. In encapsulation, it is combining of the data and the function associated with the data in a single unit. In most of languages including Python, this unit is called a class. In our figure first, we saw that mobile phone. Under the subtopic classes, we see that the name of the class, its properties or attributes and behaviors are all enclosed under one independent unit. This is encapsulation implemented through the unit named class. Here the unit name class is our in example mobile phone, and the attributes those are used as data, color, price, those are encapsulated with the mobile phone class name. In simple term, we can say that encapsulation is implemented through class. In fact, the data members of a class can be accessed through its member functions only. It means the data or the features or attributes those are defined in a class is only accessed through its member function. It means the function that is defined in a class. It keeps the data safe from any external interference and misuse. The only way to access the data is through the function of the class. In the example of the class mobile phone, the class encapsulated the data such as model, color, price, and the associated functions into single independent unit such as missed calls or number of calls. Those are associated functions or methods in a particular class. Thanks, students.